Depth of the Quiet, Chapter 5, Why Adult Children Rewrite the Past. There is a particular kind of heartbreak unique to estranged parents. Hearing your own child describe a childhood you don't recognize, events twisted, intentions recast, normal parenting reframed as cruelty, structure reframed as control, boundaries reframed as abuse, love reframed as lack. It is shocking. Not only because the story is distorted, but because your child believes it. Rewritten childhoods do not begin with malice. They begin with meaning-making. And when children become adults, they search for meaning, sometimes desperately. This chapter explains why your child revisited the past and how the story they found became the story they now call truth. Memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. Most parents assume memories are fixed, stable, accurate. They are not. Memory is not a photograph. It is an emotional impression, reconstructed every time it is recalled. Every recollection is shaped by current emotions, current beliefs, current relationships, current insecurities, current pressures, current identities. If your child is angry, their memories shift. If they are hurt, their memories shift. If they are influenced by a partner or ex, their memories shift. If they join a community that rewards narratives of harm, their memories shift. If they are struggling to understand their adult life, their memories shift. Memory is not loyal to facts. It is loyal to the story the person needs in the moment. The search for an explanation. Why do I feel this way? When a child grows into adulthood, they face challenges you cannot protect them from. Relationships that fail. Stress they can't regulate. Jobs that overwhelm them. Mental health struggles. Identity confusion. Unresolved trauma unrelated to you. Adults who feel unstable. Start searching for the origin of their discomfort. This is the crossroads where many rewritten childhoods begin. They look inward, but don't like what they see. Fear, shame, confusion, anxiety. So instead of asking, "What am I struggling with?" they ask, "Who caused this?" And the easiest target is the parent who was always there, not the absent partner, not the friend who betrayed them, not their own mistakes, not their poor choices. The parent who was consistent becomes the parent who is blamed. Not because you deserve it, but because you are the safest place to put the pain. Outside influence, when someone else gives them a different story. Children rarely rewrite their past in a vacuum. There is almost always an external influence shaping the new narrative. A partner who needs the child to take their emotional side, who encourages wounds as a way to bond, who fears the parent's influence, who subtly or overtly undermines the parent. A step-parent who wants to establish themselves as the real parent, who competes for loyalty, who resents the biological parent, who reinforces negative interpretations, an ex-partner, whose unresolved bitterness resurfaces through the adult child, who reopens old conflicts, who sees the child as an extension of their old war, a therapist who only hears one side, who sees the parent through the lens of the child's pain, who applies diagnoses and labels based on partial information, an online community that rewards victim narratives, that encourages cutting off toxic family, that normalizes estrangement as empowerment, a friend who carries their own family trauma and projects it onto your child's experiences. The child begins hearing new explanations for old memories, explanations that are persuasive, not because they are true, but because they align with someone else's needs. The child begins to reinterpret childhood, not through memory, but through influence, identity formation, the need to break away. Young adults often feel the need to differentiate themselves from their parents in order to become their own person. This is normal, but when a child struggles to form an identity, they sometimes believe the only way to become themselves is to oppose you. They redefine what love means, what safety meant, what childhood was, what family is. who you were, not because the past changed, but because they need a new story to support who they want to be now. In identity formation, the child may use the past as raw material to build a sense of self. But in doing so, the parent becomes collateral damage. Therapeutic narratives, when healing requires a villain. The therapy world, especially pop psychology, often functions through simplified storytelling. Victim, villain, wound, origin, breakthrough. It is a narrative that helps some people heal because it reduces their suffering to a story they can understand. But the problem is this: someone must become the villain, and the parent is the easiest, safest, most emotionally accessible choice. Therapy can help a person find themselves, but it can also help them rewrite their past in a way that solidifies blame. Parents often become the narcissist, the controller, the neglectful one, the emotional abuser, the source of everything that hurts. Not because these things are true, but because the therapeutic model requires an origin story for pain. You are simply the most convenient and least dangerous option. The question every rewritten childhood tries to answer. At the heart of every distorted narrative is one silent question: why do I feel this way? Children who struggle in adulthood often believe there must be an explanation. Rooted in their childhood, it becomes easier to reinterpret the past than to face insecurity, failure, relational dysfunction, poor choices, dependence on a partner, unhealed trauma unrelated to you, mental health challenges. Rewriting childhood becomes a way to make the present make sense. Your child is not trying to destroy you. They are trying to understand themselves. But in that pursuit, you become the canvas, onto which they paint their confusion. The heartbreak of hearing a story you know isn't true the moment your child recounts childhood in a way that feels foreign or painful is one of the deepest wounds a parent can experience. It feels like betrayal, erasure, character assassination, a theft of your shared history, a distortion of your love. You want to say, that's not what happened. But they would hear, you're making it up. You want to say, you've misunderstood me. But they would hear, you're the problem. You want to say, I was there too. But they would hear, you're invalidating my feelings. Every truth becomes ammunition. Every clarification becomes proof of defensiveness. Every attempt to correct the narrative becomes evidence that the narrative is right. So you stay silent, even as your past is rewritten in front of you. This silence becomes its own grief. Why? This chapter matters. Rewritten childhoods feel personal, and they hurt on a level that words can barely describe. But this chapter gives you the most important truth you need. Your child did not rewrite the past because you failed. They rewrote the past because they are struggling in the present. Their story is not an accurate reflection of your parenting. It is a reflection of their internal conflicts, their external influences, their emotional needs, their identity formation, their current pain, their alliances, their fear, their confusion, their desire to belong to someone else. Understanding this does not erase the hurt, but it removes the poison of self-blame. Your child's rewritten past is not your past. Your truth remains intact, even if it is no longer recognized. And now that you understand why childhood gets rewritten, you are ready for the next chapter, when your history becomes a villain story. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to Depth of the Quiet. You can listen quietly at 2 a.m. when your thoughts are overwhelming you, and you may come back anytime you need support. If you want to feel heard, you are welcome to leave a comment or tell me your story in the comments below. This could help other parents that are feeling like they are traveling this road all alone like so many of us do, until we found channels like this one. We all need support on those hard days when the loss hits harder. Start a discussion or ask a question if you feel safe doing so. No pressure to interact. Just heal at your pace, and you are welcome to watch whenever you need to. You are always welcome here. Also, if you like this content, you may purchase the full book, Depth of the Quiet, by Latina Sidorov, available in paperback and Kindle version from Amazon.com. And for all the spouses supporting the estranged parent, there is a great book written by the husband of Latina Sidorov on the spouse's perspective called Standing Beside the Broken, also available from Amazon. The author is Stas Sidorov. Thank you for watching this video.